All right, here we are. The Puckpedia NHL dashboard, looking at the AAVs of players around the National Hockey League, seeing who's paid, who's not, and just where these contracts are going to start lining up over the next few years. Just to make things simple, let's go over to 2027, 2028, and talk about some of these players and the contracts that they'll be on. There will be, by the time 2027 rolls around, 28 players with an AAV of 8 digits or more, and that is not even counting some of the other guys who are still yet to extend, the Quinn Hugheses of the world, the Cale Makars of the world. Right now, as it stands, Macklin Celebrini has the highest AAV with 18.8 mil, followed by Leo Carlson at 18, Kirill Kaprizov at 17, Bedard at 15, Draisaitl at 14, Eichel at 13.5, Matthews 13.25, and then you've got McKinnon, Byram, Connor McDavid, and Connor in the $12 million range. Rantanen, Marner, they're in there as well. It's a pretty long list of names that is just going to get longer as the years go on. But if you scroll all the way down, past Ivan Demidov, who is making 9.15 mil. By the way, that's the same dollar amount that Matthew Barzal is making. Crazy. You scroll past Luke Hughes, who is making 9. You scroll past Dougie Hamilton and Jacob Chychrun, who are both making 9. You will find Lane Hutson in the second year of an $8.85 million AAV contract. A deal that takes him until he is... what? How old is he going to be in 2034? I mean, I can't even do the math right now. Lane Hutson right now is 22. 2034 is 8 years away. He'll be 30. That is when his contract expires, when he turns 30 gosh darn years old. Hutson is on the best contract in the league, as was highlighted by the folks over on The Athletic. They said that Lane Hutson has a profile that is probably worth $22 million a year. Could you imagine if Lane Hutson was a free agent? A guy who was this young, a guy who was this talented. Sophomore slump? Sorry, I ain't never heard of a sophomore slump. He went from 66 points to 78 and was just under a point per game in the playoffs. Lane Hutson is the best contract in the league. And the question now remains, is he regretting that? Is there a world where Lane Hutson regrets signing the deal that he is currently on? Not because he ain't a team player. Not because Lane Hutson has anything to do with wanting to hamper or bring down the Canadiens. That's obviously not what I'm saying here. I'm just saying from a personal financial standpoint, is there evidence to suggest that Lane Hutson is regretting his deal? And the answer is absolutely no. Here's an article from Gabriel Sammy from earlier yesterday. Analyst sets the record straight on the Lane Hutson rumors that he potentially regrets his Canadiens contract. Based on what we've seen around the market in recent weeks, with Quinn Hughes reportedly on the verge of signing a $17 or $18 million AAV deal, Lane Hutson's 8.85 AAV contract over the next 8 years is starting to look increasingly absurd. It's a massive bargain for Kent Hughes and the Canadiens. Some have even suggested that the young Hutson could eventually regret his contract, knowing he could apparently be earning twice as much. After Bowen Byram landed the $12.5 million per year contract, many began wondering whether Hutson already regrets signing at a discount. Anthony Desaulniers offered a measured response that puts the situation into perspective. Hutson finds relief after signing a long-term deal. Desaulniers said, "I don't think Hutson regrets it. He looked uncomfortable at the start of the season before the contract was signed. He was clearly relieved afterwards," he added, suggesting that the security of the deal actually helped Hutson's game. On top of that, the structure of Hutson's contract will see him receive more money during the early years of the deal. That's a meaningful benefit for the player beyond the contract's AAV in itself. For anyone worried that Lane Hutson might regret his new contract with the Canadiens, rest easy. For Hutson, long-term security appears to matter more than chasing every last dollar. And this is something that does check out when you think about the personality that Lane Hutson has and just the habits that have been built within this Canadiens team. Why did Hutson sign a really great deal with the Montreal Canadiens? Well, it's because Caulfield, Slafkovsky, and Suzuki signed a really great deal with the Canadiens. And because Hutson signed a really great deal with the Canadiens, Ivan Demidov, further to that point, was willing to sign an even greater deal with the Canadiens. He's on the books till 2035, making $9.15 million, as we had said, the same as Matthew Barzal, a player that I think Demidov is better than at this point, and Demidov is going to be making 9-something mil, while other young players around his age range will be making $15, $17, $18 million a year. Lane Hutson is one cog of many of a Montreal Canadiens team that is fully bought in to believing in the team over the individual. Now, obviously, you can say, from an interpersonal standpoint, would it be fair if Lane Hutson at one point was like, man, I could have been making like $19 million a year. Now I'm only making $8. Sure, there's the possibility that that exists, and I honestly do think it would be fair considering the talent that Lane Hutson has, but I also do agree with what Desaulnier said on Twitter. Hutson signed his contract October 13th, 2025. He didn't really look all too great until he had signed the deal. Like, heading into the preseason, there was all these expectations, and it was like, oh, well, the sophomore slump is really coming for Lane Hutson, eh? He may not be as good this year. And then it was like, oh no, he signed a contract and now he's playing like crazy. It's because those contract talks were definitely looming in the back of his mind. Now that he is signed till the end of 2034, he hasn't got anything to worry about. And sure, you can say that for Lane Hutson, all the money is going to be front-loaded at the beginning of these years. In 2027, 2028, he's got an $11 million signing bonus. He has the same in 2026, 2027. This is a guy that will be getting all of his money for most of the year at the beginning of the year. And the rest of the year will be paid out $1 million base salary, $1.2 million base salary, $1.2 million, and then $7.2 million in the last year of the contract with no signing bonus whatsoever. So Lane Hutson, he is going to make a lot of money at the beginning of July every single year up until that last season of the contract when he's 30. But of course, hopefully at that point, Hutson already has a Montreal Canadiens number retired worthy career. Maybe he has a Norris or 2 or 3, or he's a multi-time Norris finalist. I have no doubt the ceiling that this guy has is going to put him on par with those Quinn Hughes, Cale Makar level players. Now, you just have to think about how some of the other names fit into that conversation. If Evan Bouchard could get his defensive game tightened up, he could be a legitimate Norris contender. If Matthew Schaefer and Miro Heiskanen continue paving the way for two-way defensemen who do everything, maybe they can be a top-tier guy. Hutson, Makar, and Hughes are more in that pure power play quarterback, offensive contributing type of mode defenseman, which is very different, I'd say, from the Schaefers and the Heiskanens and whatnot, but still, very talented. They're making a lot of money for a reason. All of them, at least, with the exception of Lane Hutson, who will be getting underpaid compared to guys like Dougie Hamilton and Jackson Lacombe and Luke Hughes and Darnell Nurse, Charlie McAvoy, even Noah Dobson. Like, the fact that they were able to convince Lane Hutson to take a lower dollar amount than Noah Dobson in the same offseason is crazy. But at the same time, seems like Hutson does not regret it. You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about this Canadiens update? I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.